To be number one. Some spend their whole lives trying to reach it while sacrificing everything else in the process. And this is Garfield Karting 2 All You Can Drift. I've always wanted a world record through the countless sports I've played and the many games I've tried to master, yet I don't know if I've ever gotten one. Most people strive to be the very best at a certain game, which I won't. I really just want to tell people I've technically had a world record in Garfield Karting 2. Because it would be funny. But how am I gonna achieve this? Good question. First step is figuring out what I'm going to do. Garfield Karting 2 has 5 different categories. You can do the full game, which is about the length of one Sekiro run. Then you have free lap and fastest lap in 150cc and 100cc respective. 150cc is far and away the most contested, with an entire 4 people on every 100cc has about 2, more like 1. But anyways, because of the highly competitive space, I decided that the best way to find the run with the most room for optimization would be math. Yes, I used math in the funny Garfield game. Sue me. Actually, it didn't even work, so don't. My theory was that because all runs are split in fast lap and free lap, I could just take the time of the fast lap times 3 and see where there's room for improvement. Turns out, people use 3 whole lasagnas for the fastest laps, whereas free lap also uses a grand total of 3 lasagnas for the course of the entire leg. Now, because I apparently don't understand the sunk cost fallacy, I decided that my best move was watching every single free lap speedrun and just hoping that something would come up. While watching all the runs, I realized that these people are pretty damn good at Garfield driving game, which, hey, they're right. On my eyes. Deceiving me. Anyway, funny thing about driving at higher speeds, you drive faster. This means that some skips are possible at 150cc and aren't at 100cc. Now, why is this relevant, I ask, because I need a segue. It's because this right here, also known as Canyon Ball Run, differs between 150cc and 100cc. In 150 you do a cheeky little skip here. In 100 you take Canyon Ball Run the long way. Both 150 and 100cc use the lasagnas here. Which, why is this important? That's right, it's because a speed boost here might make the shortcut possible. Or not. I don't know yet. The biggest issue is that the use of this shortcut has to be a bigger time save than using it on this long boring stretch, or none of this would even matter. There's really nothing else to do other than to give it a shot. To be honest, I'd already tried going through all the levels in the Garfield Karting 2 campaign, as I wanted to get an idea of how this game was played, and to be fair, I hated Canyon Ball Run. I got Garfield Karted by bots constantly, and I couldn't get a podium finish. But in time trials, it actually turned out to be kind of cool. And also, we're in! Anyways, I learned 2 things. The shortcut is possible, and also I don't think the segment seems that much faster. Anywho, at this point, I just want to try and get the shortcut 3 times in a row, and with a little practice, I've got a pretty decent run. Now, if you would kindly excuse me. We win these! At this point, within less than 10 minutes of starting, we'd beaten the previous world record, and I had a decision to make. Do I submit the run and see it immediately be demolished by the guy who's obviously just better than me, or do I keep trying to improve? While thinking, I was trying around a little, and after a short while, I got a 251.545. And I decided I should keep moving in the shadows for a short while. Next day comes around and I decide to play what's clearly the best game in my Steam library. Do you want to play Silk Song? or Garfield Kart 2 All You Can Drift. Ah, fuck. At this point, I was getting PB after PB. I was getting better each lap. Bro! No. Wait. Oh my god. Could be a little faster. Only problem was that each PB started to take more and more time to get, which isn't great. I was spending like 30 minutes on each new PB, and that's like 10 full runs, and really not that bad. But if you're impatient like me, well, after some more PBs, I got a cheeky 247. This is dead me. And I thought the run was actually pretty good, so I decided to submit it. Then I also played for a little while longer and promptly gave up because I was bad. But that was it. I'd gotten a good, clean world record. What could possibly go wrong? Things went very wrong. I just wake up to a new mail from speedrun.com saying my run has been verified. Yippee. I go to see my spot and what the fuck? Turns out Chess in his pending runs for 10 whole days had a 246 543 waiting. Now, what even happened? Well, Chess never actually knew about my strat until after the run was verified. This means he got a 246 simply by being better and using the small shortcut I'd ruled out earlier. And what can I say? He did not like me coming for the silent, because after my 247, he jumped in the car and he got a 238. He even left a little message where he said, "Oh no, it's the dive rocket launcher. Take action regarding that one individual." Which are in fact the words of a deranged psychopath. But relax. I'll handle it. If you know your enemy and yourself, you need not fear the result of 1,000 battles. Sun Tzu. The Art of... Yeah, what's a potato war? I've never read The Art of War yet. One thing I've noticed from Chess is that while he's by all means a great player, he has shown weakness in the fast lap category. So instead of walking away like some loser, I decided to watch every fastest lap in Garfield Kart 2, both at 100 and 150cc, and to be fair, I was losing a lot of hope seeing every single map at both speeds having an actual fastest lap. The reason why fastest laps should generally be much faster, and the main problem with my calculation earlier was that in a so-called flap, you use all 3 lasagnas over the course of 1 lap instead of dispersing them through an entire 3-lap run. The difference between a flap and what's just a fast run isn't big, but it is noticeable. It's really bad for me that every single map already has an actual flap, because if they didn't, I'd have an easy world record on my hand. But what if I don't know, every lap didn't have a flap? Is my mic working? Everyone has a weakness. Even Chess. Fast and very fast lap is not the fastest possible lap. This is it. This is where I win, hopefully. I decided to download the video because the search and views from me watching all the laps would already be inconspicuous enough to Chess, and one particular video of getting a ton would be even weirder. My biggest problem with Fast and Furry is that it has one glaring problem. It might actually require skill, which I don't have a ton of. My only hope is that because the run was recently submitted and Chess said he doesn't want to do an actual flap, I might have a chance. And just to make it even more clear, even a Sangaro who the record is stolen from hasn't got a pinning run on here. I learned from my mistakes. So the plan is simple. I must defend my honor. What's so special about Fast and Furry anyway? Not much. The run is actually super simple. Until it very much isn't. The reason why Chess could beat a real flap with a regular lap is the use of this trick, which skips all of this. Which isn't actually a whole lot, but whatever. That means all I should have to do in theory would be to do a flap and that trick, as well as updating my console is actually faster. How do trick? Well, first you drive through the track using a total of 2 lasagnas. Then when it gets to this ramp, you'll find yourself choosing between driving like a regular maniac or trying to commit a case of the Mondays. Choosing the Mondays results in you crashing into a family of 4, which teleports you back to the ramp with no momentum. Then, in order to remove yourself from the scene of the crime, you'll want to drive backwards, ride on an invisible rail, land on the ground safely, and avoid colliding with another family to cross your finish line and sending what's hopefully a decent time. Sounds easy, right? No, because the game apparently isn't made to be broken and the invisible rail is slimmer than the chances of a rat making it out of a KFC on fire. The only thing to do is beat my head against the wall until something cool happens. Turns out it actually might be possible, which is good news. After a lot of failing, I even started to not be entirely horrible at it. I even tried to make a consistent method, which failed because the game spawns you closer to the ledge the first time you fall than any subsequent times, because why not? This meant that every try took about 50 seconds, which wouldn't be that bad if the laps counted. Yeah, no, at this point, things started to seem a little suspicious. Not just for Shiz, a guy who, mind you, has been speedrunning all the Garfield games, but also what I thought, because we both managed to complete a lap with the tech, but for some reason, I just couldn't do it again. Now, to be fair, this sucks. Because I don't know what's wrong. Either I'm performing the tech wrong or the video game isn't working. That may sound like a bad excuse, but this is the game where items stop working after you've played for too long. So at this point I have to say, something just ain't working. I don't know what. Our plan B then must be to complete the regular time. Or pray to God that this game, which, let me check my notes, cost $5 more than Silk Song, actually works. Now, I was starting to get a little desperate, and so I tried running a bunch of different maps just to see if I had a shot, and shockingly enough, without having any new tech to rely on, I didn't. So I stopped for the night and decided I'd give it one last day. And by one last day, I actually mean one last hour. Why 1 hour? Because I don't want to play Garfield Karting 2 anymore. So this is it. I'm giving myself an hour. And if I don't get a world record within that time frame, I'll actually have to make my next video within a reasonable time frame. And if you hadn't noticed, I'm not made for that. You know what? In that 1 hour, it didn't even go that well. I actually started off getting a pretty decent run with the tech. Garfield Kart was less, how do I say it? Bad. And so I gave up on tech and tried a regular flap. Now, to do the flap properly, I thought I'd spend the first lap getting coins, so like in Mario Kart, I could drive faster. Turns out though, coins don't do a whole lot. I tested it. After a whole lot of trying, I didn't get a good speedrun at Fast and Furry, and while the time was running out, I decided to give my main map Cannonball Run one last try. Now behold, the completely unedited footage. Yeah, my graphics card shit is so what now? Am I just a failure? Not quite. See, I've been keeping something from you. Not intentionally. I literally forgot for an entire 3 weeks till I actually started writing the script, where I did, in fact, feel like a failure. Let's see. When my 247 was verified, it wasn't actually my quickest time. A day after my 247676, I got a DM asking me to get some more runs on call. So, like the incredible, handsome, lovely good friend I am, I did. And I improved my time by a whole second. Which is crazy. And then I improved on that! And forgot to press record. Which sucks. But since there was nothing I could do, I actually pressed record, and then in my furious rage, I improved my time a little to a 2, 4, 5, 8, 3, 3, which ended up being my final submitted time, on top of a fast lap, of course, which I entirely forgot. Mind you, while speedrun.com showed a 247676 on the website, I had already submitted the faster time, before the other one was even approved, and before Chess knew about the skip. And what's even funnier is that speedrun.com did validate my 245833 run. They did it at 9:14 a.m. And 6 minutes later, Chess' new record was validated. Which means I, by speedrun.com standards, held a world record in a funny Garfield game for 6 whole minutes. That's not it. This exact thing also happened to my fastest lap submission, which was verified at 9:16 a.m. and beaten 11:44 p.m. Which means I held the record for 14 and a half hours. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe. I'm putting this in my job application.